All right, guys, as you can see, I am nice and comfy, pretty much with, well, my version of bed hair. But I'm not gonna lie, I did fall asleep during the filler matches with Kofi Kingston and versus The Miz, and also the Tons of Funk versus Xavier Woods and R Truth. Those are two things that were new and unexpected for this pay per view. But I will say this: the championship matches were probably one of the best matches I've seen on a filler pay per view in a while. And even though I really do feel that they are literally cutting it short with me, because all this is surely this should be reserved for the Royal Rumble. Like the Undisputed match should be reserved for the Royal Rumble. All these championship matches, I mean, how the caliber of all these matches were pretty much big four pay per view quality. Like they were big four pay per view quality matches. I will admit that the filler matches have kind of cut short, but it was a given for one of them. Let's just talk about the match with Tons of Funk versus R Truth and Xavier Woods. It's great that Xavier Woods has his first pay per view since his debut on Raw. I think that was phenomenal, and I really think that it's great the fact that they're trying to promote new people, and it shows me that they are by taking Xavier Woods from NXT and putting him on the main roster and having him on the pay-per-view. I think it was absolutely great. And the match itself was alright, but it was pretty much geared towards Brodus Clay's heel turn. Now, on the real, this is something he should have done a long time ago. They made a huge mistake making him face because he was better off as a heel. He went from being Alberto Del Rio's bodyguard, a heel bodyguard, to being a guy, the Funkasaurus. No, I think they made that mistake a long time ago by making him face, and he actually went back to where he was supposed to be, a heel. He had better heel heat. He had better. I mean, a lot of people pretty much paid more attention to him when he was a heel. It was a given that the Funkadactyls were going to defect because, let's face it, they're a lot more popular than Tons of Funk, and they were going to go on their own anyway. That's a given. As for Tensai, well, whatever he is, Big T, Sexy T, Sweet T, whatever. We all knew that. I knew that he was going to leave eventually. I don't know how he's going to reinvent himself, unless he's going to go back to being Prince Albert, which I think he should. But, well, since the PG era, he's probably not going to be called Prince Albert, since Prince Albert is pretty much a penis piercing. But regardless of that, he might just be Albert, or I don't know. Well, that's a whole new discussion in the making for right there. But anyway, moving on from there, I will say that Kofi Kingston versus The Miz, I didn't care much for this match. I actually did fall asleep and woke up for the main event because I didn't care. I mean, we knew this feud was going to continue. I don't know why. And now that Kofi Kingston won, he got his comeuppance. Please let this thing die. Hopefully they'll be able to do something with The Miz and Kofi Kingston and not just have them out high and dry for the Royal Rumble. They might be in the Royal Rumble this year. That'll be something for them to do. But I'm glad the feud is dead because I don't care much for it. So, yay, it's over. But let's talk about the handicap matches that they had tonight. They had started off with CM Punk versus The Shield. I honestly really wanted to care about this match. I wanted to care, but it was so random and I really didn't. I knew CM Punk was going to give a great performance. But honestly, the way it ended was something that didn't really stick well with me. But what they're trying to do is that they're trying to set off Roman Reigns to be the lead guy on his own, and they're probably going to turn him face. I hope they don't. I hope that he just remains neutral right now after just leaving the Shield. It shouldn't automatically make him become face. I think he should just stay neutral, just where he is. Not a frustrated face, but just neutral. And as for Dean Ambrose will be a great heel by himself. I don't know what to say about Seth Rollins. I don't know how he's going to be like on his own. I have no idea. But it's a given that that entire match was geared towards the Shield's possible defect, as well as Roman Reigns going on his own, because Roman Reigns pretty much flying rogue all night. as well as Dean Ambrose showing off. And it was just about those two. And Seth Rollins really didn't have any involvement. He had involvement in it, but you can just tell that he just wasn't a major player in that whole match. But as for CM Punk, he wasn't relevant at all. So I really didn't care much for that match. It was good, mind you, but I didn't care much for it because of the way it was actually put together. But I will say that one of my best handicap matches and only handicap matches of the night, in my opinion, how I saw, was Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt family. Even though the Wyatt family won, I'm happy that they did, because honestly, it does something to Daniel Bryan's character. Who knows how it's going to happen? The one thing that bothers me about the whole Wyatt family thing is the fact that Bray Wyatt is begging him to be a part of the group. This is the Wyatt family. They are dominant by being the three of them. Why would he beg Daniel Bryan, of all people, to be a part of the Wyatt family when he shows absolutely no resentment, no craziness, no psychoticness, none of that? Why? Why would that ever matter? I'm just trying to figure that out. Why? Like, seriously. But regardless of that, the way it ended was awesome. Daniel Bryan was on a roll. The way he was going on, just in and out of the ring, flying everywhere. And then all of a sudden, Sister Abigail took him out completely. I absolutely loved the ending and the finisher of this match. I thought this match was really great. It was definitely Royal Rumble quality, in my opinion. But, or not Royal Rumble, but so much of a Big Four pay-per-view. This was a Big Four pay-per-view quality match. Honestly, they really pumped up TLC this year. And the one thing that impressed me the most is that the crowd was really into the Divas match. Natalya versus AJ Lee was a great match to watch. I'm not going to lie. It was good. Natalya broke out of the Widow's Peak. I mean, not Widow's Peak. Broke out of the Black Widow twice. She did not tap at all. She's won. She lost by roll-up. But that was a great match. It was a teacher versus a student. And I wish they actually had that storyline with AJ Lee and Natalya, because it would make it a lot more interesting. Unfortunately, they didn't, but it was still a great match that was respected by the crowd, and it really got the crowd going. Lately, you really haven't seen that, even with Brie Bella. Brie Bella hasn't really got the crowd behind her at all. None of the Bella twins have the crowd behind them. None of the Divas do. Not even AJ. But Natalya has the respect of the people. And honestly, it showed in that match when you actually saw how the crowd reacted to that match. And I was really impressed with it. And I really loved the way it ended. I really did. I really was kind of happy that AJ Lee won, because Natalya lately has been a bit boring. So she would probably be a boring champion. And until you kind of beef up her character, then actually I will be more interested in seeing her as a Divas champ, but not right now. But either or, it was a great match. It was excellent to watch. Honestly, it was just flat out awesomeness. Now, the tag team match. I'm not going to lie, I fell asleep. I really did. I kind of fell asleep through it, but I really wound it back and watched it. It was a great match. It was an awesome match, and I'm happy that the Rose brothers retained the titles, because they really don't need to lose them right now. It was kind of a hodgepodge of mess, because the people that really should have been there weren't. Like, I don't know why they had the Big Show and Rey Mysterio there when they should have had the Usos. And honestly, I don't necessarily understand the actual tag teams that were in there. Like, I really felt they should have had a tag team tournament for this or something like that. But I don't know. It just felt like it was kind of thrown together. There were other two. Honestly, I felt like the primetime players and the Usos should have been there. Seriously, they should have. But I guess after his bar fest, you kind of degraded him a bit. But it was great that the Rose brothers actually did retain the championship, and I'm happy to actually see that. Now, the IC championship was it was a bit of a ripoff. I kind of expected it to be a little bit longer, but then you're thinking Damian Sandow versus Biggie Langston. And Biggie Langston is a lot bigger and a lot stronger than Damian Sandow, but it's just really downgrade Sandow. I mean, seriously, Sandow talked all this crap, and you thought that he would bring up his A game, and he kind of brought his C game. And I'm like, I really wanted this match to be a little bit longer, but it wasn't. So what are you going to do? And as for the U.S. title, I really kind of want the U.S. title to be for grabs. Seriously, it would have made more sense that 3 members of the Shield going against CM Punk to have Dean Ambrose put that title up. Like, honestly, that I really wish that he did, because it really brought a little bit more. You know, I mean, seriously, it would have brought a little bit more respect to the belt if he actually did put it up for grabs, and they didn't. They kind of moved on from there. But the championship matches themselves were all out, flat out good. I love the IC match. I love the tag team match. The Divas match was spot on. I absolutely love the main event. Now let's get into the main event here. Now, the main event had all this hype around it. So they really did have to bring their A game, people. Like, seriously, they couldn't just phone it in. And it was freaking brutal. I'm not gonna lie. It was brutal. Something I didn't expect ever to see was John Cena literally had his, oh gosh. The ending of that match was probably the most gut wrenching, like literally you were holding your neck after you saw John Cena fall off that ladder. And that ladder did not break. And he landed on the side of his head. And that just made me cringe. I'm like, he has to be hurt. He has to be in really bad shape. He already has a jacked up neck. He landed on the side of his head, which was dangerous enough. And I'm like, okay. When you saw the handcuffs, you kind of knew it was going to be a screwy finish. Now, for those that have not seen the pay-per-view, yeah, there's going to be some spoilers in here. Sorry about that. But on the real, when you saw the handcuffs, you kind of expected how it was going to end. But he pulled a CM Punk by literally breaking off the ropes. And when he climbed up, it was phenomenal. But then the way he fell, I'm sorry, that was the moment that is literally burned in my brain. John Cena falling off that ladder and landing on the side of his head. Now, I know John Cena haters would rejoice to actually see John Cena land like that and hurt. But seriously, that looked like he probably has a really extensive injury after landing like that. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't really like the finish that much. I really kind of thought it was going to be one big epic finish to where Randy Orton is going to literally fight the way that he did. But I'm not going to lie, he brought it. Like, seriously, he brought it. Like, the whole way. He pulled his heel moves and everything like that. But now he's a part of the corporation. I'm like, no. And I guess that's the one big problem that I have with that finish. The fact that all the McMahons, and I am including Triple H here, came out and just literally congratulated Randy. But that's something that should have happened on Raw. Because I really don't want Randy Orton to be a corporate heel. I want him to be a heel by himself. I want him to be the Legend Killer again. He had a lot more edge. I mean, he had a lot more to him when he was Legend Killer, and now he's with the corporation. I'm like, I guess it's something to be expected. But either or, guys, that main event was absolutely awesome. I'm not going to lie. It was a really great, brutal match the way it should be. Even though this should have been reserved for the Royal Rumble, man. The Royal Rumble is one pay-per-view away from happening and to the road to WrestleMania. This is December, guys. December. And we got the Elimination Chamber in February, which means that we're going to... Wait. Okay, we have Elimination Chamber in February, which means that the Royal Rumble is going to probably be sometime in January. So, so honestly, they really should have held out. They really should have held out for the Royal Rumble. They should not have had this undisputed match until the Rumble. But that's how I personally feel about it. But honestly, guys, my overall thoughts of the pay-per-view is that if you wanted to rent this again, rent it again. This is really rent worthy. I'm telling you, this is a rent worthy pay-per-view. The championship matches were absolutely spot on, awesome. And also the defects and everything with the filler matches. Sure, the filler matches were somewhat boring, especially with the Kofi Kingston and Miz match. But I will say that the Tons of Funk match and Xavier Woods and R-Truth, that was a match that was pretty good to watch. But it was only geared towards Brodus Clay's defect. But either or, everything was great. If you want to rent this pay-per-view, I advise you to rent it full price. I will say that. Full price HD rental. I will say that. It is worth the rent. Guys, and also that is my personal 2 cents, my overall thoughts on this pay-per-view. I want to hear your overall thoughts. Leave a comment in the comment section below or a video response on your personal thoughts about this pay-per-view. I'm heading out. I'm going to bed. Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.